Welcome back to Unfiltered Romance Nights, the podcast where we deep dive into romance books, talk about all things spice, and go behind the scenes with the voices bringing our favorite stories to life. I'm Kolleen.
And I'm Marjorie. Today's episode is extra special because we'll be chatting with Samantha Brentmoor, who has made a huge impact in the romance world.
Samantha Brentmoor has narrated several amazing romance books, from Bryn Weaver's Taurus Season, Harvest Season, and Scythe and Sparrow to Wildside by Elsie Silver, just to name a few. Their stories are filled with dark romance, sweet contemporary romance, as well as angsty romance, and we cannot wait to dive into their journey, their new releases, and everything in between.
We'll be talking about their journey into narration, their process for creating unforgettable character voices, and a few behind-the-scenes moments from the recording studio.
So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and get ready to go behind the scenes with another incredible voice in the romance world.
And let's get unfiltered with Samantha Brentmoor.
Samantha, welcome to Unfiltered Romance Night podcast. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. Before we dive into your work, we kind of like to start with a few fun questions to get to know the voices behind the audiobooks.
Okay. We'll keep it easy at first.
Don't be so sure that it's easy. I get stumped by either ors really intensely. So
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to say, take us back to the beginning and tell us how this all started.
So I was making theater in New York City and making no money. I ran a theater down in the East Village.
Yes.
One of my friends, to help me out, were like, "Oh, well, you should give your voice to Pandora Radio for commercials. You should, audition for that because there's some good money there," which I did. And then it took a long time, but then eventually they started sending me commercials, and that meant that I had to have a studio to do commercials in. So then I started sneaking into studios where I knew there were I knew the directors. So I'd bring them a bagel and some coffee, and I'd quickly sell some Nissans in to Toledo, Ohio. And then I would go away. And while I would go to these studios, they would be there either recording cartoons or video games or audiobooks. And a lot of times when I was there, the folks would go, "Oh, well, you're already here. Why don't you audition for X, Y, or Z?" So while I was there, that's how I got into cartoons and commercials and video games more. That was mostly what I was doing, but an audiobook here or there. And then in 2018, I left my full-time job to work as a producer with Brickshop Audio, where I still work. And because they were a studio that I had been going to for these recordings, and they had me audition for my first romance book through there. And then in 2018, I started working for them as a producer, and I spent some time better really understanding that whole side of the process, which I think really helped me a lot. I directed a lot of audiobooks, so I got to watch just the best voices in the business work and learn from them that way. When the pandemic hit in 2020 was when I really started aggressively auditioning for romance. But I think I did my first romance book back in 2014 when I was doing all those commercials and stuff.
What was it?
It was a Shel Bliss book. I'm still with Shel Bliss. Shel Bliss is the first author that ever hired me, and we've been together ever since.
All right. So tell us about kind of your first recording experience. What was that stepping into the booth for the first time?
I self-recorded my first book because I had been self-recording my auditions and commercials and stuff for a lot of times when I was sneaking into stuff. So I remember that I had really underestimated the marathon of it all. I was like, oh, this is because I, again, was so used to video games and commercials and stuff where it's you just say see you next time 5 different ways instead of being oh no, I have 400 pages of a story I have to get through. So I think I was really it was a real wake up call to how different it was to everything else. But I remember really loving the prep because again these other audios that I was doing, you don't get a script for a video game or a commercial until you show up in the booth that day. And sometimes you don't even know the characters you're voicing. So with audiobooks, it was this like lovely experience where I got to bring a lot of the discipline from the theater work I was doing to like character development, etc., and really like dig in. And that was really, really enjoyable for me. And then I remember being like very grateful that Jason Clark was working at my studio, so that he was the first when I was like, oh, you have to do like a male voice in these books. I was like, okay, I'll just sound like Jason Clark. And I went like a little bit too far the first time. I definitely had to direct because I was coming from cartoons. So I didn't really know, and I hadn't like listened to a lot of audiobooks on my first audiobook. I definitely got notes, but it was like, make some bold choices. And maybe less bold. And I was like, okay.
I think just listening to your voice, I could hear like a radio VJ. I could definitely hear that. Like, you should have thought about that too.
One of the jobs I had in the early days was, do you know, like on the morning VJ shows, like the morning radio shows where they're like, we're talking to Suzanne right now, and she thinks that her husband is cheating. Yeah. So I'd be Suzanne. I'd call in and be like, I think Derek has been cheating on me, and I think someone needs to, like, I think you should see who's going to send the flower. Like, who's going to send the flowers?
War of the Roses.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that stuff. There was one where I was the cheater, and it was my favorite one. It was the best one because I was like a mom, I think, and I was like, had to pretend that I was getting the kids ready for school. And also it records at like 4:00 in the morning. So I was like, at the time, I'm just like in my 20s, like probably still drunk from the bar. I mean, like, I have to do this call in for a radio show. And I was like, what are you doing calling me at home? Hold on. Susie, just grab your lunch. It'll be fine. And like, I created like such a backstory for this woman's morning that afterwards they were like, okay, great. And then like they'd pause and the VJs were like, that was a lot. You really gave us a whole thing. I was like, so call me sometime? Does that mean I'm fired? They did drop off the calls after that. So maybe, I don't know.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
That's fun. Those would be fun to hear. Like,
those weren't real?
I mean, I can't speak for like every radio station. I'm sure that there are real ones, but there is also there's a whole slew of them that aren't.
Oh, good to know. Because sometimes you kind of wonder, like, is this for real? Like, this story seems like.
I know. If it's like, I used to listen to those, I mean, many, many years ago, like on the ride to work. And I would like time it just right so I could hear it. I'm like, oh, shit, you're going down.
You get invested in them.
Like, seriously. And then they're like, Kolleen, why are you late? I'm like, we don't know what happened yet.
I had to figure out who he sent the roses to. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Okay. I'll reel it back in now. Sorry. I went off script.
No need.
Now, when you're not narrating, what types of things do you do for fun or to recharge?
I do we live now. I've moved. I live like 2 hours outside of the city now on about like 35-ish acres of like forest. So I do a lot of like outside stuff.
Nice.
So I'll, whether or not it's like cutting trails or just doing gardening stuff and hanging out outside. So I definitely do like a lot of outdoor stuff, and I like love hiking. There's a lot of like hiking when the weather's like it is now, which is just like winter where it's just like I don't want to go out at all. I'm actually like running for a couple friends. I'm running like a tabletop role-playing game because I did that for years, like Dungeons and Dragons type stuff or adjacent stuff. And I play like, I'm a big dork, like I play video games, and I like reading a lot, and like I'm a big, like I love like movies and television shows and just like consuming art in all its forms. But I'm not like a crafty person. Like any craft night, there was like a lady narrator's paint and sip, and I was markedly terrible. I was like, oh, okay. Well, some of you don't have brain damage, and apparently I'm just like, I've never held a paintbrush in my life. Like you've never seen something so bad. So like all that, like crocheting, knitting, like I've never been able to do. I like cooking a lot, but
okay.
Yeah, I was like I was a culinary school dropout. I used to do like competitive cooking competitions. Yeah, like Iron Chef type stuff.
Fun.
Weird life.
Right.
So I still like the kitchen a lot. I think it's wonderful.
I think that's creative too. Like creative.
Yeah,
sure.
Great.
For sure. My favorite kind of cooking, actually, my favorite thing to cook is like when we haven't been to the grocery store and we're like, well, what can we make with what we have here? Like, I love that challenge of like making up something with the ingredients. Yeah.
That should be your next night, kind of just cooking. Then you'll outshine all of them.
Yeah.
Right?
I should be like, surprise cooking competition. Who's going to win? I don't know.
Right.
But I'm not going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, I lost painting. Like, it's a competition. It's like ridiculous.
I mean, I think it's like when it's a group, it always turns into competitive stuff.
It's hard when there's like when at the end you've had the worst part was like you've had a great time, you've had a couple glasses of wine, and then I didn't even notice it actually until they were like, okay, everybody grab your canvas and take a picture, and I was like, great. And so like we all posed with our canvases, and then they sent the photo around, and I was like, everybody's looks like the picture, or at least like the vague shapes of it. No, not mine at all. You were like, wow, that like mountain landscape really looks like a weird dog situation. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, so you went like the abstract route. I love it.
Thank you. Yes, that is what I did.
Abstract is good too. Do you have a favorite comfort read or audiobook that you go back to over and over?
I generally do not repeat consume any media. I'm like one of those people that's like, we had the experience together and I don't go back. Because somebody was asking me, like, what's one movie that you watch on repeat? We don't even watch the same movie like during like holiday times or something. I always mix it up. I think it's because I just have the sense of like there's so much to consume. I'd say there are like maybe like there's probably like genres and authors that like I like going to, and there's certainly like voices that I'll listen to Moira Quirk narrate anything all day long. She did the Lock Tomb series, and she just has like a voice that feels like wonderful. Actually, there's so many voices. Like I do really sympathize with people who are big audiobook fans, because I'm a monster like most actors who's like, I can't deal with my voice. But boy, do I get obsessed with some of my colleagues' voices where I'm just like, man, what is she doing? How is she making that sound so effortless and beautiful and honest and just like melodic and delightful? Yeah. I guess my comfort is like listening to my colleagues be awesome.
Nice. Be supportive. I like that.
Right.
How do you prepare for your day? Like, are there any specific rituals or drinks or anything, like things you have to do before you have like a big read?
I have gotten a lot better. I used to be so inconsistent. But I do feel like I've gotten a lot better in the last like half year or so, that starting my morning, like I have to start my morning spending some time outside, getting some sunlight and moving my body, and definitely like not touching my phone, because I was getting into a really bad habit of like all the emails that I have to answer before and like this and this, and I get so distracted and it'd be so like not connected to myself. So I definitely like start my day in the sun and like moving my body in some way, shape or form. And then while I'm doing like treadmill stuff, I like get all of my inbox stuff in a place that I feel like I can like quiet my mind, because I still am producing. It's really important to me that by the time I get in the booth, I feel like I can put that work on a shelf and that it's like in a good place and I can like mute my inbox. So it's really important for me to feel like I've at least got things like organized and tagged in the way that I feel like while I'm narrating a scene, like the back of my head isn't going, yeah, and how are you going to cast that book when I want to get it done? So I definitely have like hardcore like ADHD, and it's like it's important for me to put those structures in place. But then once I'm like ready to record, it's a reviewing of my notes for the book that we're getting into. I always have like a hot beverage, so like I always have either a mint or a ginger turmeric, or if it's at the end of a long session, like a throat coat tea. But
yeah,
I'm guzzling tea and water And that's
Yeah, I would imagine.
yeah. Especially if it's a lot of characters and if it's a lot of men, and I have to do a lot of like male voice stuff. For me, the hot liquid is like essential.
So you said you kind of like produce and direct some of it. Is it hard to switch from that to like when you're actually like when you're narrating, like where your brain's not like, you know, kind of being on the producer hat while you're narrating in the booth?
I actually a little bit. So I started to shift away in the last few months. We like brought on some people at my studio. Like I don't like being the hands-on producer for a project that I'm the narrator on. I think it's really important to have that like balance of dynamics, that there's somebody between the rights holder and the narrators, so that, you know, just this is like great to have a referee for any number of reasons. And so that you can kind of turn your brain off to your question, like, and be like, all I have to focus on is what's right here. And it can be hard. So on like project specific, yeah, like more and more I lean out of producing books that I'm actually on. And then generally just turning off a producer's mindset. I don't know if it ever goes away. Like, especially because I'm in so much self-directed stuff. They want you to like self-record. I'm kind of, there's like a little on my shoulder constantly, like listening in and being very supportive and not judgmental at all.
Yeah. How long do you usually record in a day? Like when you're recording?
Oh, I mean, I've certainly done like 8 and 10 hour sessions on certain like books and projects, but I'm not doing that every day. That's brutal. I schedule myself to spend anywhere from 4 to 6 hours in the booth a day is sort of where I start. And then, yeah, if things pile up, or if it's a more complicated book, or it's a tighter timeline, or if it's like a book that I've really kind of crowbarred into my schedule because I really wanted to make it work, I can be in studio for like 8 to 10 hours and like get good work in, but I can't do it like 5-7 days a week.
That makes sense.
Yeah, burn out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, your voice just doesn't keep up with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What is something about the audiobook narration that most listeners would be surprised to learn?
I was asked this question recently, and honestly, in this day and age, I don't know if there is anything. You guys are all like so deeply knowledgeable and like up in our shit at this point that like I don't know what would like at this point it's like, well, you know how duets are done, usually not together and on our own. You know that we used dog clickers for their lines.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Oh yeah. So you'll be in like an intimate scene and be like, Jackson, what are you doing here? Oh, that feels so good. Like it's like it doesn't take you out. You really have to stay focused and innate. So yeah, okay, there you go. Little clickers for duets. I just taught you some. But I feel like so many people are streaming their sessions now, so you can like watch people live narrate. There's very little, I feel like, that is a mystery anymore about this. But I don't know what to you guys is like most like I always wondered about like what seems unknown to you.
The duet would be like interesting because it's like now that you know like say that they're recorded separately, that's kind of like, well, if it's a banter, how do you even like you know?
Oh yeah, so like most people do not, because the expense does go up. So if you're doing a duet and you're paying for us to either be in studio together, or like I did Bryn Weaver's books, Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow, and Eric was in Dublin, so like we weren't in the same place, but we were connected over Zoom the whole time. So
nice.
We did the whole books like live together, but like connected that way. So that you're then compensating your actors for, you know, the studio time that they're together. So one way to keep the costs down is to have people self-record separately.
Yeah.
And in certain situations, like I would say like me and like Jason Clark and Teddy Hamilton and Connor Crace and like I mean, at this point also like Rob Hatchett, like there's enough people that I've worked with enough that having us record separately, I know how they're gonna interpret those characters. I know how they read. I kind of know their tone. And we either interpret the text in a similar way, or I just know how they kind of play scenes generally. So recording separately works in those circumstances, because when they edit it together, it still feels like we're playing the same scene, because I think we know that about each other enough. Whereas sometimes if there's newer people that I haven't worked with before or I haven't heard, I'll spend some time listening to them so that I can get a sense of, are they more restrained in their approach, or are they more, do they have more colors and shades? Are they a little bit brighter and bigger with their take on things, so that I can kind of match energetically where they seem to naturally go? But yeah, I mean, we do it on our own, and sometimes you will notice that, oh, I thought they were whispering in this scene and you thought they were yelling. So that is one of the risks of doing it separately. But yeah, a lot of times if you follow the text, like, the writers are good enough that as long as you follow what the writers have given you, you land in kind of the same place, even if you're doing it separately.
Okay. So what you get, so I'm an author, what I'm giving you is not the whole book. It's if it's duet, it's just what you should be reading, or you got to figure it out.
It depends on the client. So some producers just give us, I always get the full script, and some producers will give you the full script and say, it's up to you to prep it for duet. Oof. Most producers, and I prefer this way, they'll give you a prepped script for duet, which means that they've gone through the manuscript and they've taken out like a lot of dialogue tags and like unnecessary information. You can only change so much so that it can still whisper sync, but they'll make those changes, and then they'll highlight it for you so that where your wild lines are, is what they're called, or where somebody else is cutting into your dialogue. And then when you go into narrate, you either leave space for their lines, or you use like a clicker so that the editors can clearly see where the lines get cut in. And then if you're just doing wild lines, that can be even more challenging, because, like, I tell you what, some of these spicy scenes written from his POV, spicy scenes written from her POV, he's chatty as fuck. Spicy scenes written from his POV, girlfriend's just like, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like
right there. Oh, fuck. And you're like, man.
Inner monologue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like inner monologue if it's her POV, but like she's not running her mouth the way that he's running her mouth in her POV. Like she's like, I wonder, he's never felt this way, and like, I just think this, like, she's got all these thoughts running, and then he also is like very talkative.
Right.
And,
so talking dirty.
So like, yeah. So if I'm in duet for that, then that's something that I'm recording by myself, and I'm having to go, oh, great. So this chapter, all I have to do. And then that almost gets even harder, because you kind of don't want to be so obnoxious that, like, I need to know where the kind of rise and fall in the action, and also what kind of narrator, how they handle spice, because I think some narrators are different in spice than others. So like some guys are super restrained. So it would be really obnoxious if he's like, yeah. And then I walked her over to the bed and she sat down. And then I'm like, oh, yes. Like, really? You know what I mean? So it is like kind of trying to match where that's happening in the action of the chapter.
Right.
And when you're not together, you're sort of making your best choice based on what's on the page and what you know of your co-narrator. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So I guess sometimes if you've never worked with a narrator, you guys don't really have to like talk or anything like that. If you're like,
no, this idea too, like, I guess this is another of like, I was sorry to ruin people's ideas of things, but when they're like, oh, and you work together on whatever, the reality is no, like for the most part, you're on an email production chain, and they go, oh, Samantha, you and Jason are working on Lover again, and the files are due on this date, and be sure to work with each other. And it's sort of left for you both to kind of work together. And so for a lot of men that I've worked with, and women, but like a lot of people that I've worked with as co-narrators, like we know how to talk about characters. So some people like to get audio clips. Some people just want like a list of vocal qualities. And so if it's a duel, we share that stuff with each other so that we both make sure that like Annie M sounds like she's 60 and not 80. So there's like that level of collaboration to a certain extent, but it's not even that much of a dialogue. A lot of times it's like, oh, I see you're recording before me, so you can make the choice there and I'll follow your lead, and then you just get a folder of voices from somebody that you've worked with and you follow their lead and try to match that. And there's not a great deal of like back and forth generally.
Okay.
And there's tons of people that like I'll not have really talked to that much until I see them at an industry event, and then I'm like, oh, you're the person who I've done 10 books with and I didn't even know. You have a dog? Had no idea. Oh, it was great.
Sad day for other people, for audio listeners, right?
Yeah.
I guess am I ruining the magic that like we don't?
No.
But I mean, like, also, how amazing are we that we make you feel like there's so much chemistry there between? I mean,
Exactly.
there's certainly a lot of people. Again, like the people that I've worked with a lot, the people that I go to conventions with, like, again, like I know them and we know kind of our energy on the mic together. Again, on the book itself, we're not necessarily doing so much note comparing in the studio. I did a lot more last year. I did a couple more than usual like live studio recordings. I mean, I love it, and it's a really wonderful opportunity to be able to do so, mostly because I get to listen to like like I said earlier, I love listening to my colleagues. Just lovely to learn from people by listening to how they approach things and learning a lot from them that way. And then I get like a little bit nervous to like perform in front of them. That's like, it's different than a sample. So it's kind of nerve-wracking to record together. Or I'm like, oh, as much as I'm paying attention to you, you are now listening to me with that much specificity. I better not be boring. Oh man. Now I'm also in my head. Now my little producer on my shoulder is being very judgy.
Is it like if you do like the live recording, do you guys do it at the same, like together, like at the same time, or like you guys swap one at a time, I guess, in the booth?
So mostly if people are going to have us do like a live simultaneous duet recording, we'll still be from our home studios and connected over Zoom. And that is like, that's another way to like, again, be affordable or like accommodate people's schedules, because not everybody's in like the same place, right?
Right.
I just did one with Teddy where he was because I'm in New York, I could drive to Philly, and he was in Philly for a convention. And so the author paid so that we could both be in studio in Philly. And that was rare because like sometimes the studios, like if I'm in the same studio in New York with another actor, you're in the same studio, but you're in separate booths. So you still can't see each other. You can only hear each other, which we might as well be on Zoom. But the Philadelphia one was really cool because we were in two different sound studios, but there was just a glass wall between us.
Oh, so
we could like actually play off each other and like see each other and like play scenes in a way that I do. Like a lot of the cartoon stuff I've done, you're in studio together and you're doing those scenes together. And that felt a lot more like that, but also was weird too, because I was like, oh, but now I'm looking one of my best friends in the face while I'm talking about like some wild things.
Yeah,
so,
that's fun. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, one of your best friends, and then you have a scene where you're taking it in the ass. And
it's a whole new level of friendship. I mean, like, you know, you're professionals, right? We're actors. Somebody asked me and like Rob this the other day because we did tour season. We're getting ready to do harvest season for Bryn Weaver. And they were like, is it so like weird to do these scenes like live together with somebody who's a really good friend of yours? And we were both like, no, we're professional actors, and actually it's easier than the other acting work we do where you like are like having to use intimacy coordinators and get really like physical with somebody else.
Yeah,
like that's a whole other level to like navigate. This is just us playing characters and like saying words. Like that's nothing. That's
true.
It's not that weird. Honestly, the weirder stuff is like doing it was a rom-com. And the worst part was the spicy stuff was no problem. It was, it's this like joke now. And now I can't look you in the eye and tell this joke and read it straight and not break, because now all I'm thinking is the weird way that you just said that thing and that joke you made about it. And now, oh, great. Okay, I've ruined it.
That's funny that like the spicy scenes don't even faze you, and it's like the simpler
No.
stuff.
No, they don't.
Oh, question. Because you said you did Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow. Was it harder to kind of like, because, you know, they're two different characters, Rose and, oh my gosh, what is her name? Lark. Right? Lark. I'm going to butcher some of this name. I'm bad at names. Yeah, but like Lark, was it harder to kind of like differentiate them if you're, you know, narrating both characters?
I mean, I like the chance to do it. There is a series I did. Like I've worked for a lot of authors, in a repeat capacity, and there's a number of them that like I did a whole series, but it was different women for each book, and I like the opportunity to kind of find that voice. Somebody that I work with, Grayson Owens, I was talking. We were on an interview together, and we were talking about prep and working together, and he said that prep with me is challenging because he can't just pick a book off Audible. Because he was like, you sound different in like every book that you do. And he's like, oh, I don't know that I would like say that. Like, that is like pretty bold. But I do think that I enjoy the process of finding how each character does sound a little bit different. And I do think that there are at least like a handful of female main character like energies and vocal qualities that I can tap into. And so because the Ruinous Love trilogy, all three of those women are so specific and unique, and they're friends that all show up in all three of the books, I had to have their voices established anyways,
Right.
when they were going to brunch. So then it was just a matter of taking that voice I had already found for them and like doing it for a whole book. And it's not like so different. I mean, you know, I'm still me, but like I'm not going to pretend that I'm some sort of like magician vocal chameleon. Like I don't think I'm like wowing anybody like that, but I think that hopefully it feels different to the listener and distinguished enough.
I mean, you just did it early on a little bit, like where you change your voice, you can tell it's different.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
That's talent. I couldn't do it. I can't shake your accent.
You don't change your voice. Like when you're telling a story about like, yeah, and then like Max came over and he was like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, I mean, you change your voice when you're telling stories. No?
I guess. But you can still know it's me. I have like a very annoying, distinct voice. It's like... so,
I would not call your voice annoying.
a little bit. You know what? I don't think anybody but you probably love the sound of your voice, but like I know a lot of people like hate the sound of their voice. So when I do like videos for TikTok, I'm like, oh God, I hate it. It's terrible.
We all hate. I can't. There are times that I'll be recording and it'll punch in. And when I was recording Shield of Spares, my husband wanted to throw me off a cliff because I would be like, I don't know. I just went back and listened and I think it's terrible. I don't know that and if you listen, actually, will you listen real quick right now? Will you listen to chapter 1 and chapter 12? Like, I sound like a totally different person. I think I need to go back and re-record the first 5. And he was like, no. He's like, in this chapter, she's chilling out. And in this chapter, she's like in combat. So she's going to sound a little bit different. Like, you're fine. And I was like, but it's all terrible. Oh, how can you listen to that? So, yeah, well, we all sound different than we think we do.
I guess.
Yeah, I think the only time I change is like when my accent kicks in. But that's, I have to be like speaking like the language that I grew up in for like hours on end. And then when I speak English, you'll hear the accent. Like, oh, yeah. Like I just came here from the Philippines.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, no, I've been here for like more than 15 years. I shouldn't have this accent. But it's like, I'm talking in Tagalog for like a whole day, then my accent will kick in.
Interesting.
For sure. I mean, I find my voice I think it's probably because like my ear is always kind of listening to pick up different character voices that I can pull from and use. But I do that obnoxious thing that if you talk to me long enough, then I start sounding like you, like some sort of freaky parrot. And it's like... rude. People don't want to do that, but like I can't help it, and I'll just start like little mannerisms I'll pick up. It's like, so I wish I didn't do this. It's subconscious.
You don't do it on purpose, but
I'm not like, let me copy you right now.
Yeah, I can tell like when My husband used to work with his old boss. I could tell he was with him all day. I'm like, oh, he's bringing Eric home. And then he does like all his little twitches, and I'm like, oh, I can't with you.
Yeah, see, we all do it. We're all like, I think, like sponges to the people that you're at. And I mean, like, if I'm hanging out with like my girlfriends from college, the way that my vernacular changes once I like come back, or yeah, just certain other people where you're like, oh, right, okay, I've crossed over into. I realized this. I was like, my husband had a bunch of his friends over, and I'd just gotten off like a call with a bunch of romance narrators, and I came in and I was being very casual and as like punchlines, like using stupid, absurd sex acts as like punchlines for jokes, because it's like, we narrate absurd things. So I think I threw something that it's like we all know, like Ice Planet Barbarians is like a regular reference for us in the romance world, right?
Yeah.
Like that level of stuff. And I made like basically an Ice Planet Barbarian story. It was like, oh yeah, like an alien with like a blue dick is gonna get it. And the room was like,
What?
and I was like, oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
hanging out with a very different group of people.
Right.
And right, okay, sorry. Anyways, there's these books about aliens. You should check them out. It might be a good time.
I still need to read that.
You do. It was so absurd, but it was still good.
Yeah.
Some scenes in romance can get very spicy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, I know you said it doesn't phase you, but like, how do you approach those moments as a performer while keeping it authentic and professional?
I've always thought that the spice scenes in books were equivalent to the action scenes in like fantasy, sci-fi, that like any kind of genre fiction, even like mysteries, thrillers. They have their beats they need to sort of hit. And for romance, the spice is one of those beats. And so I understand where it fits in the narrative, and that it's like pushing. I always try to figure out like how it's pushing the characters forward. Like it should always be tied to moving the story forward. And even if it is only like the most, because I love these books too, like if it's like absurd erotica and like it's just spice after spice after spice, then like I know what job it's still doing there. It's still telling the story. It's serving its purpose, which is like, yeah, but like the next time it's going to be even more ridiculous. And so then it's like finding how to layer that and finding the action beats in it, because like you can be just as, I think that it's easy to get like just as dull in an action sequence where like swords are flying and you're like, how do I keep track of who's dead and who's powerful and why do I care and like what is happening, can be just the same as like, and her knees are where? And he spit on what? And what? I don't understand. Why should I care? And so I think like those, I try to use those same muscles that I would use in other genres to that, and realize that it's like, and that the titillation of it, like if the spice does titillate, that's like an after effect, but not the purpose.
Right.
And that is also like a very personal thing in that what titillates one does not titillate the other, and some people read the books for that and not for that. So I think that can never be the purpose of why I'm getting in the booth when I'm getting in the booth with those scenes.
Gotcha.
Now, this is a really good one.
Okay.
What's one of the most challenging or rewarding books or characters you've narrated so far? I know it might be hard to say one, so if you need to give a few, that's fair.
Yeah, you're not getting one. Okay. Thinking recently, there was an L.M. Halloran book, The Fall Before Flight, I think it's called, that I did this last year. Solo narrated. She was like she had some memory loss, but she was a very unlikable heroine, kind of by choice, and really pushed a lot of people away and made some pretty like toxic decisions. And it's about her recovery, and I loved it. It was so satisfying as a woman to read a female character that did not have it all together and very openly was like, I'm a mess.
Right.
And I'm a mess. And not even like, almost like staunchly defiant in her mess. So that one was, and L.M. Halloran writes grief better than like anybody in the business. I feel like it's like so grief and addiction. She just knows, and it feels so grounded and real. So that one was tough, but really satisfying. I felt like Elsie Silver's Wild Side was also pretty tough. There's also like, there's, for me personally, the relationship that main character has with her sister in terms of being the bridge to the kind of outcast in the family. And then the book's been out for a long time, so spoilers. But like her sister passes early in the book. And she bears a lot of personal responsibility for that because she felt like her family had basically cut out her younger sister, and she was the person who was always bailing her out, and that still wasn't enough in the end, and she had to reconcile with that. That was her arc, and that one was really personal to me, and I thought that she wrote it very faithfully to what at least my experience in that was. So that one was like intense but satisfying. There's this, we're gonna keep going. I have so many that are like stuck with me. Elizabeth O'Rourke, I love working for. The summer series, each one of those books, all of the women in it are deliciously complex and wonderful, but her time travel series, the Parallel series, or yes, I think that's what it is called. She's got a time travel series, and the first two books are kind of written today, and then books 3 and 4 are written in the past. And it's her mom is books 3 and 4. And anyways, they take place like, it's like the woman goes from 1980 to World War II, and like in like the French countryside, and like it is the most like, do you remember how like 90s movies were like, so dramas were like epic and sweeping and like dramatic and full of, it was like all of that. Like every page was, you were like, no, and Henry's doing what, and where are they now, and like everything was just so earned and beautiful and wonderful. But I just remember sobbing like narrating that one. I was like, oh my god, and like in the most satisfying, like juicy, yummy way. But that one was, and it was one that I had read. Like I had started working for her contemporaries, and then I went and I read her backlist because I really liked her stuff, and I was like, so if you ever want to put this in audio, I'd really, really love to do it. And then I got the chance to do it. And then I had all this pressure because I wanted to do it. And then I think Shield of Sparrows was really tough because I love fantasy personally, and I hadn't broken into romantasy really. And it was a passion project for Devney. She hadn't written romantasy before. So then I took great care for me wanting to like do right by it. But it's basically solo narrated because Jason only comes in for the epilogue. So I was like, okay, it's a whole world of people that I'm gonna have to do. So that was kind of scary, but very, again, satisfying on the other side. They all stick with me in like a different way. Honestly, like I could like go through every book and be like, then this is what stuck with me with this one.
You have a great memory too.
I spend so much time with these, right? Like, because you read it. I guess to the question earlier, what is my comfort read? And I said I don't re-listen or reread things. Well, I do for my work, right? By the time I've finished in the studio with it, I've probably gone through the script like 3 full times. And sometimes I know the book's better than some of the like authors, especially if it's a backlist. I'll like meet them at a convention and be like, I just worked on this book and it was like so amazing and this and that specifics. And they'll look at me like, yeah. I mean, I finished that book like 9 months ago, and I'm already like in the world of the other book. And I'm like, oh, right. Sorry.
What are we talking about now? Like, which character? Right. Can you walk us through kind of like what the audition process looks like for narrator, or how do you decide which books to audition or accept?
I love auditioning for a book. Kind of similar to kind of related to the conversation about how I feel like I like to try to find a voice for each book a little bit. And also it just makes me feel like the author, the rights holder, like really checked all the boxes and knew that they found the voice that was like right for them. And sometimes, if you've worked with somebody for a long time, but I always love auditioning. So yeah, you'll get, it kind of depends on the book and the publisher. Sometimes you'll get very little details. We've got a book by this author in this, it's romantic suspense. we think it's going to have, like, here are some of the tropes we think it's going to have. It's roughly this long and it needs to record in the spring by these dates. And that's all we have to go on. So then we have to like go look up that author and their other details and see if it feels like something that's right for us. And then like you have to be really clear about what are things you do and don't want to narrate. And that can get tricky too, because sometimes these authors haven't written their book when they sign you on. So I've certainly run into plenty of times where I've gotten manuscripts and said, okay, well, now that I have this manuscript in hand, I need to flag that these things are tough for me personally. And they're in here, and I'm even seeing it in the context of this book, and like, you know, it's just not for me. So yeah, that's kind of where you kind of have to decide whether or not it's something. And for me, when I choose what I audition for or sign on for, I'm mostly looking for variety. So before the year starts, I build out my ideal like year. And then as I get opportunities, I try to slot them into there. I've learned from myself, if I do like too many of the same subgenre back to back in my calendar, if I do like 3 vampire romances back to back, I'm not as fresh and present as I want to be. So it's really important to me to say, okay, I need to push that small town romance like down a month. And if that means that I'm not the fit, then I totally understand. And sometimes, you know, obviously that's not always the case. Like, it'll happen and I'll have things back to back for any number of reasons, but that's how I try to shape things and leave enough space for like some, you know, last minute bookings that come in from anything, and try to get a mix of trad pubs, but like still really stay connected to like really small indies. Like I love when I can be the first person that has brought one of your books to audio, because like that's just like a super fun experience for, I think, a creative to work with them on that. So yeah, I'll always save space for that.
Well, that's nice.
That's interesting. It's like that sometimes you'll get booked before the book is actually written.
Well, mostly, especially in romance, mostly like they'll start. I've gotten inquiries for 2027 and I had to respectfully say, I love that you think so much of me that you want my time. But like, let's check in like 6 months before that, because that feels like insane. Like I was getting asked for 2027 in 2025 and they weren't part of series. They were like, I mean, they were part of a series, but it wasn't like, you know, the way that tourist season and harvest season and like I already know I'm signed on for that series. This was like, it's a 5-book series. We want you on the 5th book that records in 2027. And I was like, I can't even wrap my brain around that. But some of these women like that are running their businesses, like they're planning really far out. And I really respect that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I can't think that far in the future. I'm like, what? What am I doing on Friday? I don't know.
But that's interesting though, because you're kind of like, you're basically either going to say yes or no based on a limited amount of information. And
for
then,
sure.
You know, like you said, it's like, what if, you know, when you read it, there's kind of like the things that you can't, that's a no-no, or like kind of like, you know, where you can't do it, you know, that's
sure. And there's a lot of times that I don't even know, like I've worked for plenty of people that I looked them up. I had like looked up samples of their book, or if it was on Kindle Unlimited, I like quickly like scanned through it to get a sense of like their writing and their voice. And then the book that they signed me on for that had like a 2-sentence, she's the grump and he's the sunshine. And it's going to be small town cowboys. And you're like, okay. And then you get it and you're like, this is very different than the other book you wrote. And also they're in the mafia. And also they're, okay, well, I don't know. Which is their right as a creator. Because I can only imagine these authors, I think a lot of this is driven by a demand connected to male narrators. And this idea that, oh, he's the hotness, the old hotness or the new hotness. But like, the handful of men are the ones that we have to have. And so then they book up so far in advance. And so these authors are put in a position where if they want to work with certain people, men generally, then they're having to book out that far because those men are filling their calendars that far in advance.
Yeah.
which is like no shade to them, right? Like
Right.
as a freelancer, it's great to know when and where your job's coming in. But I think that that's where like the market push drive is, and that it's normalized it. So then authors are having to save people and put them on a wait before they've even written the book. And sometimes I've heard from authors that they like that because then they go, oh, well, now I'm writing the character with that actor in mind. And that can kind of shape it. And that's really, really exciting. Like I've had authors work with me and go, no, I knew you were narrating this one. So I actually like, when I thought about the dialogue or I thought about the character sensibilities, it made it really easier for me in the writing process because I could have your voice kind of in my head. So that's kind of exciting. That's like the positive side of it. But I think the tough side is like, yeah, these poor authors have to be like, I don't even know what's going to happen with this book. I think it's going to be this, but I know I want you on it. And you're like, okay, let's all have a little bit of faith in each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Like halfway through like the year, it's like, change my mind. I'm changing the whole story. Like,
I had one just recently go from, I got an email that said, same author, but we signed you on for the vampire, but, romance, but now it's going to be a small town romance. And I was like, very different vibe. And I was like, you do know that the reason I said yes was because that was my vampire slot. That was my paranormal slot. And now you've put it, and they were like, I know, I'm sorry. It's like,
How many do you usually narrate in a year? Like book-wise, I guess, for as work.
girl, I don't know. I do not keep track. I know I've done between both of my names, in all genres. I've narrated total over 500 books.
Wow.
And I narrate. I mean, the number of books is hard because like sometimes, like I just went back and forth on this book that I'm doing where I'm doing one chapter. Well, that's a book technically.
Yeah.
True.
My husband got me this. I was having a hard time like celebrating wins and like finishing things. So my husband bought me this like hotel, this like antique vintage like hotel bell, like when you check in bell.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And every time I finish a book, he's like, ring the bell. And then you sort of have this like little cap to finishing a project. And wherever he is in the house, he can hear the bell. And so like I'll be like ding, and then I hear like from across the house like woohoo. Like, oh wonderful, we love a supportive husband, amazing, love it. But also I had this thing the other day where I like rang the bell 4 times because I stacked up all these, like it was a novella, it was a multicast where I had a cameo, it was another book where I had one chapter, and I was like, well, I mean, I did like 5 books in one day technically. So yeah, like I said, I try to narrate anywhere from like 2 on the low end to like 4 to 5 on the high end finished hours a day. And so if like a romance book typically is sitting at like 8 to 9 finished hours, I can do like,
in a week,
2 to 3 a week. Full length books I'm doing, a couple a week.
Oh,
Do you take like frequent breaks, or do you like if you're going in now, you say to yourself, I'm sitting in here for 2 hours? Or do you do like 2-hour clips, or?
Really depends on how I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I'll have to be really strict and like be like, okay, I'm going for 2 chapters and then I'm getting up and getting out.
Okay.
Sometimes it's tied to time. Usually it's tied to like chapter breaks and stuff like that and like rough time for that. But I have to be careful because like depending on where my head is that day, sometimes the stopping a lot, then the starting back up is hard.
Right.
A lot of times I have to like lock up my phone because I'll be like, I'll get up to go get a tea and then be like, yeah, but obviously I need to like see what's new in TikTok shop.
No.
Yeah, where you're just like, oh, and then you got to go back and be like, oh, right, you were in the middle of, and then resetting becomes like a whole thing. But I did get like new in here, like I changed a lot of my like seating stuff to kind of help with like back support and joints and stuff like that. But yeah, I do have to, I can do more when I was just recording with Shane East yesterday, and he and I both were pretty good at like, we could do like an hour and a half, and then we both wanted to like stand up, touch toes, get a tea,
Sure.
and come back.
It's a long time to sit in one position. I mean,
Yeah.
Got to move around a little bit, get the blood flowing.
Mm-hmm. It's hard.
And you have it at home? Your studio's at home, I imagine.
My studio's at home, yeah. And blessing and a curse sometimes, like in terms of productivity. But it is like, I think I do also try to be mindful about like what's happening in the text too. Like I'll be like, okay, like this like kind of arc I want to do back to back, and I don't want to like lose energetically where I was at. And also if there's a lot of character voice stuff, I like to try to not walk away so that I can still like keep it wherever it was in here, trapped, like some, I don't know, trapped in the prison of my voice.
And I keep forgetting, like, most of the romance books are, like, in dual point of view. So it's not like the whole book, like, you're getting the chapters that you're just narrating. So it's a little bit faster, I guess. You know, when we're reading or when we're listening, we get both of you, both of the narrators, and be like, oh, that's a long time to kind of like, and then I was like, wait, no, they alternate. Like,
yeah, I'm only doing, yes. But also I find more and more, you'll get a book that be like, yeah, it's like a 50-50 split. And then you're like, actually, no, the woman's doing the heavy lifting here.
Yes.
So
sometimes,
now I've got to do, shocking.
I know.
Oh, wow, the one's working harder in this industry, too, that we made ourselves for us.
Have there been any, like, funny bloopers or outtakes that fans would love to hear about?
Okay, so this just came up because generally my bloopers are boring as hell. My bloopers are like, it's less granny chic. It's less granny chic. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, you stop and you redo it, and there's not often.
Okay.
There's but I was recording in person for this Lauren Blakely book with Teddy, and I found out that there were so many bloopers that she has a whole, at the end, after the credits, I think it's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes of he and I just breaking and going off. And I was like, oh, okay, well then, and I was like, people kept DMing me because I think the ALCs went out. And I was so confused. I was like, what happened? What? And then somebody sent me some clips and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that is actually pretty funny, but also embarrassing that you guys now can hear like,
that is funny.
But usually, yeah, by myself, I'm just messing up and redoing it. And once in a blue moon, like I just did this whale shifter romance. And
whale?
Yeah.
Whale. Okay.
It's so good. It's ridiculous.
I was hoping you meant to say wolf.
No, baby. No, baby. He's a whale.
Okay, interesting.
He's a whale. He's amazing. It's amazing. It's so beautifully, deliciously campy. I
really
had so much fun. Yes, it's amazing. And when I was recording it, there were definitely a number of times where I was like, I cannot believe that I am saying that full-throated, the most serious that I've ever been before. Okay, we're going there. And like every once in a while, there'll be times where like there is something that just feels like so absurd. But for the most part, I'm trying to do my job and be like, even if Sam thinks it's crazy, like I'm just in the narrative so much that it doesn't seem surprising. It seems very normal to those characters in that I'm not out of it. But that's at least the goal. So sorry, it's not very satisfying. People are like, you should do more bloopers. I was like, you're just going to hear like coughing and you're going to hear somebody be like, that's not fun. And also, when I record with some of my like really good guy friends, that are the sweetest people you will ever meet in your life. Some of them, you're like, oh, that's where you were storing your rage when they're like recording, and their bloopers are not like, I've never liked it. Oh, it's going to be like, and I've never looked it. Oh, fuck. Then you're like, bro, are you okay? Like, you're so sweet and level-headed all the time, but you mess up a word in the studio and
it's over.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, don't let those bloopers out. People be like, you have rage issues?
Right? That would be like fun to like just have it like a compile of like, this is what happened. And it's like in order to get this perfect scene.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what happened.
Yeah, I feel like I've just been like pooping on all of like your favorite audio things. Be like, well, we don't really work together, and the bloopers aren't really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to like infuse some more magic into the audio experience so that you're like back thinking that it's like
the voice is in and of itself. The fact that you can make all these changes, you can be 2 to 3 different people in one book and be so seamless, and some of us not even know, is magical. So there's the magic.
There's the magic. Okay.
Like I say, sometimes I'm like, you know, when you're listening to the audio, especially with the spicy scenes, I was like, how do they like keep it straight? Because I'll be like cackling and laughing because sometimes it's like, wait, where are their legs at? And what? Like the height difference? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a killer. The height difference. Come on.
Height is, yes, it's a very insane thing. But again, the spice is not where I lose. The spice is usually the times that I normally lose it. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this, will be in the like normal narrative where it'll be like, and I was wearing a blue shirt, which I hate blue shirts or something like that, where you're just like, oh, like, I can't believe I have to like hate the color blue so much or something like that. Like, it feels like really just out of left field.
Oh, romance fans, like we love to connect with our authors, narrators, actors.
Yeah.
Are you going to be attending any upcoming events or anything that, you know, people could come see you?
Yeah. So more and more, I'm trying to join authors on their book tours as much as I can. Because that's nice because it's a book that I've worked on directly. Like I find that the conventions are challenging as a narrator because we don't have anything to sell. So we have to like pay the fee to have a table. And then, you know, you're paying for your travel and your hotel and whatnot. And when authors go, they're selling books and like that's subsidizing the cost of kind of being there and like meeting some new fans. But for us as narrators, oftentimes we're paying our own way. So I am definitely doing less conventions and more book signings. And anytime an author comes through New York, I'm always trying to go there, but I'm also trying to like branch out. And so like I talked to a couple authors I know about possibly joining them in stops on the West Coast or elsewhere. Coming up, I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble event for Liz Tom 40 and her book release. And Jason and I are her conversation partner for that, which I'm excited for. Because sometimes we show up when we read a portion of the book. But I love chatting with people. Obviously, I'm like, you can't shut me up.
Where's that?
That's in the Barnes & Noble in Union Square in New York.
Oh, okay.
So I've got that event. I'm doing Charm City, which is in Maryland in April. I'm doing this one in June at a Gaylord in San Diego, like Raven's Spicy Reads or something.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because it's again West Coast, so I can. There's a Canadian one that I might be able to fit into my schedule, and then that's it. I would really rained out. So like there might be some announcements of like some book tour stuff, but yeah, in terms of events, I kept it much less because I just spent looking at the old budget, and I was like, dudes, you spend a lot of money going to these, and a lot of times it's like it's tough too because I don't spend a lot of time like online cultivating stuff. So like a lot of people don't necessarily recognize me or my name. They might recognize the books that I'm on. Right. Which is like fine. Like I also want to be really clear. Like you do not need to know me. There's a lot of things. There are very important things to know in this world. I am not one of them. Like appreciate my work, but like I'm just saying. But then that means that at these events, I kind of am there hanging out, and it's a lot of you really realize audiobooks are their own weird bubble within romance. Yeah. So then you'll be at this event and people will come up and be like, what is this? And I'll be like, oh, I'm an audiobook narrator. Ugh, can't do audiobooks. It's like, okay, well, that's what I do. So
keep it moving.
If you want to talk about it, we can, or not. I don't know. And then, I mean, it opens up some really interesting conversations.
Right.
I mostly like going so that I can meet my biggest, like more and more. Obviously, like I love meeting readers. It's really gratifying to me. It's why I will always say yes to something like this, because I like just having conversations with people. But it's also nice then when I'm in the booth and I'm telling stories to be like, okay, great. Well, now this one, I'm going to think about like Kolleen while I'm narrating this and like telling her the story. Or I'm going to like Marjorie right now is like, because it is, it's different than being on stage for a lot of people. So it's really important for me to like envision the person I'm telling the story to or somebody.
Yeah.
And meeting readers helps that. But I like going to the events too because I can meet my colleagues that
Right.
we've been on these email chains with, and you don't know anything about them. And then it's a chance to meet them.
Yeah, definitely.
So conventions need to get a little bit more cheaper, I guess. So that way
Yeah, or
everybody
like, you
can
know, sometimes producers will pay for us to go. I'm trying to convince somebody, I'll put this out into the world again. I'm trying to convince somebody to pay me to travel the country and interview and hang out with my narrator friends and like a round table, like actors round table type situation.
that would be good.
And
Do
maybe
it.
we'll do it on stage in Milwaukee and you can come and watch, and we'll go to Texas and we'll go. And then that way we're talking about art. We're talking about books. I get to see my friends. We can come to you so you don't have to travel, fan of audio. Just come
Colleen,
on.
that's an idea for 2027 that you can handle. Like, I'm
Putting
What
it
is
out
an
there,
idea?
it's going to be the cost of getting a narrator there and a hotel.
You're right.
And like, I bet you could get the rental of the theater and people's room and board all paid for with those ticket sales.
Tickets.
For the, I'm
Actually,
telling you. And they wouldn't
if
even
you-
have to be expensive tickets.
right.
Oh, I got a good venue in Jacksonville.
Putting it out there, Colleen. This is my
We
new...
Venture. You can even do like an Airbnb for all the narrators. If you guys know each other, then
Oh, nice.
it would be
And it-
cheaper, I guess, instead of like a hotel room. So there you go.
There
lots,
you go.
You know what? There's lots of Airbnb here in Montana.
And Montana's beautiful. And also, like, please, the narrators want to get out of the booth. I get to hang out with my friends that I narrate with, go for a hike, and then have a conversation about art in the evening. Okay. And then do a photo op and sign some things.
Right.
Twist my arm.
Movie theaters are not, I found that they're not that expensive to rent. Movie theaters, because I priced one here in Montana, because my son's like, okay, like we don't really like rent out a whole movie theater. And I was like, who are you? Like, why do you need a whole movie theater? I'm like, excuse me?
You do.
Listen,
You
I'm
rent out
kind
the
of a
whole
big
movie
deal,
theater.
okay? Like,
Right,
it's my
yeah.
birthday. I need a movie theater. Right. And I was like,
You just have
cool.
to do it at a weird hour.
Mhm. Well, whatever. So we can be like as late or as early or whatever. Like,
I tell you who's not making money, just regular community theaters with stages. They'd be happy to have somebody rent them out.
Yeah.
So just putting it out. I figure if I say it enough places, then somebody's going to be like, Samantha Brentmoor, you want to go on tour? I'm going to go, yes.
you know,
I mean,
what?
like, you remember like Kat and Nat? They were just two like wives and mothers. They like took off, and that's where I saw them in Jacksonville by me, and they toured all over the place. There's so many people that do that.
Colleen, can we like do the can we steal this idea and we'll just email Samantha? Is like, which narrator? No, Samantha can like get all the narrators together because we don't know who to contact. We'll just do
There we go.
rent out
Travel around.
how much we need and all that stuff.
I just think people would show up. It'd be great conversations.
I think so
and
too.
more and more, I think it's like hard to ask people to travel. Even the attendees for some of these cons, I think, can be like hard to do. And so I find, again, it's like pretty cool. And when I go to these book signings in the city in New York, I see a lot of the same people because obviously it's the same sort of area. But I always get so many DMs from people that are bummed that they, live in a certain area where they don't come through. And I was actually talking to, I think it was Brynn Weaver, who she did a giveaway for some indie bookstores, and some of, the ones that aren't on the normal sort of tour circuit. And I think it's next year that there's like 2 or 3 that like won this giveaway. And now she's going to those indie bookstores and is like doing an event there. And people are stoked and showing up because I found that all of these indie bookstores are in places where there's definitely community for them. I did a really cool event in Syracuse, New York, that was like super awesome women And it was just like an afternoon, and they I think they do it maybe 2 times a year, and they like rent out a restaurant and they invite like 5 different either authors or merch people, or I was the narrator that time, and you just get to meet their book club. And it was like, I don't know, 30 people, and we got to just talk about books, and it was awesome. Super into like micro local.
But I think your narrator roundtable would be awesome, because I feel like sometimes, yes, we see some of the narrators do like on TikTok live and stuff, but I feel like that's still kind of different. Like actually just be in the theater and be like, okay, we're watching you guys, or like whatever, we can ask the questions and request or read.
We just got to figure out the funding. Like the second the funding gets clicked into place, I will take this idea and run with it and make it happen. I will call all of my friends who will be hungry. Trust me, I call any of my friends and be like, hey, you want to get paid to go have a conversation about art in Jacksonville? Great, done. You want to go Montana?
There's so many different venues in New York. Like I was just thinking, I was brainstorming. I don't know how far you are from Long Island, but there's like Patchogue has that little theater, like, and you can get, and people would buy tickets for that.
Totally. And especially if you go someplace that it's like, for them, I noticed this where I live out in the country, that there's this literary festival that happens near me. And some of the most like, and it's not like, it's for like, some of the most like high profile authors and like big name celebrities have come out to this thing in the middle of nowhere. But it's because it's like, oh, well, there's a lot of Airbnbs. There's a lot of like gorgeous, the time of year that they do it. It's like the nature scene is like beautiful out here. So you get to just be in like beautiful nature. You stay at an Airbnb for a weekend. And then you like go to this literary festival where you're talking about art and books and whatever. And it makes it feel really worth it. And I think if you do it in these cool places, that it's like, you know what? I'll do that drive and see them. I don't know. But if it was like one of these book tours that these authors go on, and it's all over the country, and you're like, I don't know which stop I'm going to go to. I don't know which narrators I'm going to see at that one. Like, because also narrators live all over the country.
That's true, yeah.
So you'd be able to work with so many different narrators and get them around and be like, look, you don't have to do a hard flight. The only person who's wacky enough to fly everywhere is this dumb bitch.
Samantha, you'll be the mainstay, like for every tour,
I'll be the glue that holds it together. Right. That will sort of be the through line on what we're doing, quality control, make sure we're having great conversation.
Right. We'll like have to try at least one in Florida for you, Kolleen, and one in Montana. So we both have to like fly somewhere.
Maybe that's the secret, is that it's not like one big partner. It's actually finding like local partners to be like, okay, and here's the like fundraising model, and here's the like, you find the venue, here's the rough budget, and then like once we hit that in ticket sales, we know it's on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we need to know like, how much the narrator would cost, and then their Airbnb and
guys, birth of a brilliant idea. If this
you did it.
This happened.
Right.
Yeah, but you were the final piece that was realizing, like, I was waiting for like my sugar daddy billionaire boss to come in.
We're all waiting for that.
Well, if we're gonna wait for that's not gonna happen. Like,
don't hold your breath, baby.
No, we have
some mafia men to steal us away.
Okay. Look, we're women. We're carrying everything in our back. Yeah. We might as well do this ourselves.
It's true.
Okay?
Let's do it.
Okay. We'll do it. Look, I'm gonna message Colleen's like, hey, I know how much the theater would cost for this event, because it doesn't have to be the whole day. It's like
no.
It's usually just for however long you schedule.
2 hours,
3.5, 2 hours or so. Yeah.
For like how long a movie is. I was like, okay, well, we'll fill up the seats, however how much, because it's cheap. I'm like I said, like it's for a birthday party. It's cheap to rent a 2.5 hour movie theater.
Yeah.
The expensive ones are the talent.
But even that, I know enough people, because we do have to pay to go to these things, that if you were saying, look, I'm not going to pay you like a performer's day fee.
Right.
If we sell this many tickets, then yes. But like the base is just, I'm just going to pay for your flight and like the place that you're going to stay in. So it's just, You just have to find the time. And I know so many people would love that. And
So summer?
especially if it was not just, it's the conversation, and it is also these parts of going to these events that we really enjoy, which is spending time with each other, but also getting to meet readers. And I think it would feel, and also there's any number of authors who live around there that could be invited as part of the conversation partners. We'll go to Long Island and hang out with Tessa Bailey. Like, there's any number of people that, you can invite to be a part of these things. And it feels really nice if it could happen. Part of the reason I was really inspired to do it, besides selfish reasons of like travel and hanging out with my friends.
It's traveling, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I just basically, can I get paid to hang out with my friends? But no, was that I think that there's a lot of people that it is really hard. It is really expensive to like get out of Nebraska to go to any of these events. But if we came to Nebraska and had this conversation, huge, awesome. Like, and that's like a really special thing, I think, to be able to give the community that I think gives us so much. Like, I get so much digitally through it. And where this question even started was,
I don't know.
Romance readers really love to connect to the people that make it. And that, I know everybody who's a creative in this industry is really loves like having those genuine connections. And so if there was a way that we could make those directly with people where they're at, I know so many people who would jump at the chance.
Don't be surprised when you get an email from us.
Yeah, Marjorie won't let this
You
go.
guys might be the thing that pushes No, because here's the thing. Like, if you push me to like get this then organized, then I can be like, great. So then here's the repeatable format, is that you find a local advocate and you say, great.
Right.
Now,
like,
that's what you have to do as a local. Yeah, exactly. You're just a partner. And that, guys, we maybe made some magic happen tonight.
We'll be selfish first, and we'll do one in Montana and one in Florida.
Obviously, but then people will be like, "This was so successful." We'll be like, "Well, listen, we franchised this idea, okay?"
Right, yeah, you have to like contact us first.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe it's through other podcasts.
Yeah,
like Dark and Disturbed. No,
that's a book box.
No, there is another one, Dark and something or other, and wherever their hometown is, they'll pull it together for you.
Yeah,
and that's how you get your travel. I don't know where they're out of, but
we'll start with us.
We'll start with Montana and Florida.
Yeah, we'll start with yours. I am totally going to brainstorm the shit out of this, and then I'll be like pricing Airbnb and stuff. Because I don't have enough things to do here. I don't socialize.
Seriously.
Look, I don't socialize. This is my social hour.
I don't either.
So, and if it has to be like-minded people, I'm good. Like,
right, yeah.
I definitely would love the opportunity to work on a Sierra Simone. I think the way she does spice is so good. I would want to. Who else is on my list? It's never going to happen, but because of the nature of her writing. But oh my God, Kennedy Ryan is like so good. I also like Abby Jimenez. Like,
yeah,
get out. Like, that would be so unreally wonderful.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know. You can't say it's never. Yeah, we can't say never. It's gonna happen.
No. Yeah, well, and there's so many that I've already like. I remember when I got the first, when I first got the call for the Sarah Kate that I was on, because Sarah Kate was on my list for a long time, and they were like, "Could you fit in this?" I was like, "Yes, whatever, it's done."
I listened to that. That was good.
Yeah. Definitely more fantasy, romantasy, like Rachel Gillig's book. I want to be like a female knight. Female knights were a thing that like happened, and I was like, I'd want to do one of those. That was like a big trope last year. And who was the one? Wasn't V.E. Schwab, which I also, please get out of town. I would do V.E. Schwab in a heartbeat. A thing. Die, cry. But there was somebody else that's like, whose name is like that, that's on the tip of my tongue that I can't think of, that she had a big Lady Knight book last year. That I was like,
oh, I don't know.
Can't remember it. Anyways, yeah, the list is very long.
Okay.
Have you done like, those, is it called graphic audio?
Oh, immersive.
The one where it's like the sound effects and it's a full
Yeah.
cast. Yeah, graphic audio. No, and actually, like, it's funny because I had wanted to do them for years because I came from cartoons and video games, and I emailed them so many times like a thirsty little bitch, and it was like, no, crickets. So yeah, much as I tried, they
It's gonna happen soon.
maybe I don't know, but yeah,
A lot
no,
of things happening this year. I
Yeah.
feel like it.
It is. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's all gonna happen. You're gonna be like, I don't even know. I don't.
I'm
have
gonna see you at the tour stop in Florida
Yes.
and being like, I can't believe I just finished this Lady Night book after the Sierra Simone. You'll never
Right?
believe it. And next week I've got the Abbey. Can you imagine?
Yeah. We'll
No.
be like, this is because of us. Because
Yes,
of us.
we're witches. It happens.
Yeah, right. Oh my
Right.
God! Stop.
It's just like snowball.
Next thing you know, we'll be meeting once a month to channel our abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, guys, well, we're making all the things happen now.
Since we're doing this, we have to have a meeting anyway. Like,
That's
No.
funny.
and we didn't even need a billionaire or a mafia guy or something.
No,
Yeah, we did it with that one.
Do you have any exciting projects or upcoming releases that you're allowed to tell us about?
Well, I mean, they're no brainers. They're continuations of things. But I'm
Okay.
going into the studio in the city with Rob to start Harvest Season, which is the next Bryn Weaver book in not next week, but the week after we're recording. So I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to go to the studio in New York with him in person. Just because he's like one of my favorite people in the world. So I'm glad to go on lunch breaks with him and hang out.
Yeah.
no.
And then I start Rights of the Starling in February, which is the next Shield of Sparrows book, which is excited to know what happens next there. And the other ones, what was the one that I've been doing a lot of like live simultaneous records with Shane East. We had like 3 or 4 different books, but they're not announced yet. So, but those will be fun. And there's like a big, I think it is already posted. There's a big like beefy, like I don't know, like 18-20 hour Greek fantasy, like romantasy that Teddy and I are doing I think we're recording it in February, but it's like based on Helen of Troy. Which I'm super excited for. Like concept wise, I was super, super excited for it. I was like, and I think the author is C.R. Jane, I think is who it is.
Oh, yes.
I know what you're talking about. She just
Yes.
announced the cover and the stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Audible for pre-sale, so I'm not like ruining anything. She maybe hasn't done like a big announcement yet for it, but that one is going to be really fun. I love like Greek and Roman mythology stuff, so that'll be really fun. And this one that's going to come out, I already did, that I can't wait for everybody to have, is The Lies That Summon the Night by Tessania. She it's one of the funniest. It's like so funny and like very specific world building that was really, really, really good. So again, guys, I cannot give you a concise answer ever.
It's okay.
It's okay.
This is why I'm much better asking the questions than I am answering them. I'm the seats need to be turned.
So when we do the tour, you'll be the
Yeah.
moderator.
Oh, 1,000% I'm the moderator. I'm not answering any questions on that tour. Get real. I know my place. I know my strengths. This side is not that.
But we get a lot of information though, which is good.
Yeah, too
for
much.
us.
Maybe too much.
No.
Maybe
No.
it's like a fire hose of information, like talking to me. But it's what you got.
We'll probably get message. When is this tour going? I don't know. We're talking about.
No, we're talking about
threw
it.
out
Marjorie,
there.
you'll have it done by next week.
I'm sure. I have a 3-day weekend this week.
Oh, see? Told you.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
ready.
She's ready. Look, she's ready. I'm just gonna be her BFF, or I'm gonna call. I'm gonna just assign myself as one of your BFFs. You're gonna be tired of me, and to the point. Finally, I guess this one. I don't know if it's gonna put you on a spot or not. If you could describe your narration style in 3 words, what would it be?
Just 3.
3. Put her on the spot.
I simply cannot.
That's good. That's cheating. But
I know.
that's good though.
We'll take it. I'll
Sorry.
take it.
Yeah, no, I'll take it.
That's
I'll
your
take
final answer.
it. Yeah.
Well, we did it. This was so informative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my
on the
gosh. Thank you for
podcast.
having me. This was lovely. Thank you for letting me blather.
I know we have a new bestie.
Yes.
And we're so glad to see and learn. We've had other narrators on here, but I feel like every time we learn something more. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. And everybody has, I don't think there's there's some industry standards, but everybody's experience is different. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they think of things differently than I do. And maybe speak about them more clearly and concisely.
Yeah.
No, I think we've gotten off the rails majority of the time.
Oh, great. Okay, wonderful.
just-
Love to hear it.
Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
what we do.
I think the main common thread is like how you guys start. It's like either actor, working actors or theater.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really valuable base to have in this work.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a deal breaker, but I think I can always tell on a mic somebody who comes from like an actor world if it's not audiobooks. Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I think you just care about the characters in a different way, or you like see the story differently. And for better or for worse, I like it.
Yeah, I feel like it changed now, like how we do like audiobooks, because like I think before, like the narration is like you're just reading it, like the narrator just read it kind of straight, like just reading it to you, and now it's a more like dramatized kind of thing, so which is enjoyable when you're listening to it. So I always listen to audio and then read it, so I'm like it's fun for me that way because I can hear it and I like when I'm reading and I'm just like, oh, this is more immersive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's for me, like as a producer, but also as a narrator, it's certainly a spectrum, and I think certain genres want a narrator that leans in more dramatically or not, but also even within romance, just talking about romance, I think that even some writing on there wants a more restrained or I think it's a balancing act, because I think if you're really restrained in your read, okay, somebody might find that boring, but they'll at least be able to project their own sense of these characters onto it. And at worst, it just feels like, I've come here to tell you a story. This is just me telling you the story, and here's what the story is, and I feel like it's you telling me the story. And then like the high wire act is, and then there's maybe some people that make you feel like, no, this is that character, because a lot of romance is written in first person. This is that character telling me the story, and I'm lost in the world and the characters they're giving me, and their character voices feel really specific. And so it feels like that person has plopped in. And then I think there's a step beyond that, which I think some people do, and I think is challenging as a listener, for me at least, which is really acting it. Because now I'm telling you how to feel, and I've left no room for you as the listener to fill in any blanks. And if for whatever reason you have not led the breadcrumbs enough so that somebody feels as intensely as you do in that moment, as a listener, it can be like, whoa, what? You were having a lot of feelings I was not ready for. Or like, you don't know when somebody has like put that book down and has like reopened it. So like you maybe are on hour 10 and you feel like really intense about this thing. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But like also somebody could just be picking up the book after having left it for 3 days. And the first thing in their ears is, I'm really intense about this thing. And you're like, what?
What?
So I think we have to temper that instinct to be. And I think I overact all the time. Like if you want, how would I describe my work in 3 words? Like it's like probably overacting. Like, because I think there's times that I do, and I think it's probably because I came from this other commercial cartoon, like video game world, which like wants you to be very different. Like I hate doing kid voices, but I get hired for it a lot. And I hate it because in my head, I'm still like on like the little like, oh, come on, guys, like, do you want to say? And you're just like, nobody wants that in their romance book. Like,
No.
nobody, even the most precocious kid, you do not want to be like that intense. But I still feel like that voice is so ingrained in me. It's very hard to like, like rein it in. And so I do think that that spectrum of restraint to dramatized is something to be really aware of. And I think the text will tell you where it wants to be. The genre will tell you where it wants to be. But I think always err on the side of a little bit less.
Yeah.
It's like seasoning food. Like you can always add seasoning, but you can never like
Right.
take it out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like
yeah,
I
sure.
do find you can do better leaving a listener being like, I wish they gave me a little bit more, rather than like, he was doing so much. Like, and I feel like most people, in my mind, I'm living in a hellscape where every book I do, people are listening to and be like, I wish you'd do less. Like,
No,
stop.
I don't think so.
that's the producer on my shoulder. She's the real bitch sometimes, but like,
I still like the fact that you can like in a jiffy, like you can change your voice. It's like,
Yeah,
whoa.
that was
Like,
crazy. That was
like,
wild.
Just changing it a little bit. I was like, oh, like that's amazing. That's talent right there.
It is.
It's talent.
thank you.
But thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
us.
of
We
course, of course.
appreciate,
My pleasure.
and-
Sorry I turned this goodbye into another 20-minute podcast.
No, it's okay.
I'm
Oh,
trying.
we get so much ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to the business proposal for the tour.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll just like,
Set
hey,
that on your desk Monday morning.
I'll be like, so the theater costs this much. Airbnbs cost this much. Now you guys are just gonna help me. How we're gonna price them so we know how much to pay the talent.
Yeah, well, how many seats are in that theater? How many do you think we can sell? You know what I mean?
We need
And
to do that.
the real thing is that for any of this stuff, you could just say, well, look, if we sell 50 tickets, then it can happen. If we don't, then it doesn't. Then nobody's out any money. It only happens if you've sold the tickets and you can do it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's a win-win situation. No billionaire needed. Low
Exactly.
risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all we have to do is like sell the ticket, find a date.
Mhm.
Colleen is
Amazing.
looking at me like you're crazy.
And she don't
Because you know my brain.
assign me tasks. Can you do
I
this?
will.
Can you write this letter? Do this letter? So
Oh, I'm sure I'll be like, hey, can you email Samantha? We already have her email.
Yeah.
She can like do all the narrator contacts because those
Yeah.
are hard to come by. I would say it's fun.
Yeah, we live in
Difficult
the
to find.
shadows.
yeah. Well, we will do it. This is our year, ladies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let's
make it happen.
26.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing more from Samantha, Marjorie, and Colleen.
Yes. The crazy girls, just like on a whim.
You don't
Just
know.
what happens when I mess up on my medication. I get all an
Medication.
extreme high. No,
I'm not medicated, so what does that tell about me? I'm not medicated.
Just high on life, girl.
Yeah, it's true.
I need to be, or else I would have been like, okay, and I'm booking it right now. Go.
My God.
Yeah, I get like Kermit the Frog typing.
You'll just like say, hey, I put a deposit down, by the way, for this theater, so we have to make it happen.
So
right?
it is happening.
happening, right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh. Samantha's be like, what did I get myself into?
What did I yes and myself into?
How do I block? She'll be like Googling, how do I block people from emailing?
No, I'll be like,
They're
these
evil.
bitches really can manifest something. Let's
Yeah, exactly.
get
We
some-
do.
Get some good
Hey,
things on it.
Right? We can have like a special author that's surprised so that they don't know who's coming or not.
Yeah, guys.
All right,
So-
let's get to work on it. No.
Let's work on it. Let's stay. Don't be surprised. Just say now. Don't be surprised if I have like something.
I'm prepared. I've girded my loins. I'm ready for anything.
You heard it from this podcast. She said yes. She's ready. So she can't. No
I'm
take
ready to
back.
receive the email.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh. All right. Well,
Oh, thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah, again.
My deep
And
pleasure.
we'll be talking to you soon.
Soon.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
That wraps up today's interview. A huge thank you to our guest, Samantha Brentmoor, for spending time with us, and to you, our listeners, and for hanging out with us tonight.
If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Unfiltered Romance Nights for updates, guest announcements, and all things romance.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Unfiltered Romance Nights. This episode was edited and produced by Spellcraft Novel Media.